The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of soft, fleshy 70s boobs. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking The Vampire Lovers. Hey everyone, welcome to the Salty Nerd Podcast. My name is Matthew Kadish. I am pulling hosting duties today because our fearless leader Alex is out camping. But don't worry, I'm not all by myself. I have my much more talented, fantastic panel of nerds with me today, including Matt Vader 74, who is very happy that we watched this movie, apparently. Wow. He watched it late at night in bed, if that tells you anything.
I'll tell you the story again really quick because we're live now. So I'm watching this last night after I get home from work. I've been kind of dreading it all week. It's like, oh, this is going to be some stupid ass, whatever movie. But this is a cool Hammer movie, right? And I ended up like jerking off like 3 times while watching this movie. I couldn't wake my wife up because she sleeps pretty heavy. But, this is definitely a fun movie, and it makes you want to touch yourself.
Right.
So,
we both Jude and I were very surprised because this is the first watch, and this is part of our retro rewatch month, where we specifically focus on movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, basically like early cinema type thing. And we were it's kind of funny. From the moment I met Jude, she had this poster, which is actually behind her over on the wall. Wait. And it's basically this poster that she had hanging in our bathroom for like years. Yeah. And so like every time I went to the bathroom, I'd be staring at this Vampire Lovers poster. And it's kind of a misleading poster because it has it has the, this vampiress, with all these humans chained up and she's about to eat them. And we always wondered what the movie was. We never watched the movie. And then for retro rewatch, Jude picked The Vampire Lovers.
Yeah. So I got this poster as a gift, and I've never seen the movie before, and we've had it hanging in the studio for 3 years now, and we've never watched it for the show. And so this year, I've been on a mission to watch all of the movies of the posters that we have in the studio. So for Retro WeWatch, I decided we're going to watch this one.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's a poster behind Vader over there for Prophecy, which is like the little monster in the egg. Yeah. And we saw that for free on Prime, and Jude was like, we have to watch this.
Well, and both of these posters are super misleading. So Prophecy, it looks like a really cool monster flick. It's not. Yeah.
It's a pretty terrible movie,
It's actually so bad. And it's mostly about a husband and wife who have a shitty relationship and shouldn't be having kids, but are. And then the Vampire Lovers poster behind me, which you can't really see in my camera, but it's right there. It looks like there's like a bunch of vampiresses, and they have like people chained up against a wall, and they're coming to attack them. That doesn't happen either, but it's a super fun movie. I had a blast with it. I screamed riotously throughout the whole watch.
I think that's one of the things I really appreciate about that era is they have some amazing poster art that goes along with the worst movies imaginable. But the poster art to this day, people can collect these things and get reproductions and stuff and hang them on their wall, and they look really cool.
And the poster art's always like it's hand drawn stuff. Yeah, it's not like photography or anything.
I love going to like there's a couple of old secondhand shops in Boulder City. Yeah. I love going to those and like just looking through their old posters and seeing what I can find. And the Prophecy one behind UV is one that I found in Boulder when I was on a wine walk with Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just a quick warning for our listeners out there is this is a surprisingly porny movie.
It was so porny.
It's got a lot of like lesbianism. It's got a lot of bare breasts.
Whenever you say lesbianism, it sounds like you're talking about a virus.
It's like it's got some of that lesbianism in it over there. It's like, oh my god! It's like, yes, give me more.
But it's sexy lesbianism. It's not like activist lesbianism or anything.
I can tell you all about it.
Yeah.
None of them have shaved heads and purple hair.
Yeah, exactly.
And hairy armpits.
And it is a pretty 70s style horror movie as well. And we're
very sexploitation.
Yeah. And we're going to talk all about it after we get back from this break. Hey everyone, welcome back. And real quick, if you want to help support the show and play a really fun mobile game, go to saltynerd.com/DC and download this game called Dragon Champions. It's a hero collector game that's a lot of fun. Basically, you build up a roster of heroes that you can then use to go out and do all types of missions and raids and fun stuff like that. It's got kind of like a World of Warcraft vibe to it. It's a fantasy realm that has all types of different races and adventures that you can go on. And if you go to the promo code area and type in Salty, you get a starter pack that's filled with gold and character shards and all types of fun stuff to get you going in the game. And when you hit level 20, you can actually join our Salty Nerd Guild in the game, where we go on raids to fight big old dragons and get tons of rewards. And it's a lot of fun. I've been playing the game for many years, and I love it. It's easy to pick up and hard to put down. Matt Vader is actually in our guild as well. And you've hit level 80, and now you're getting into the in-game stuff. What are you thinking of the game?
I'll be honest, I haven't played it as much as I should be, but I am enjoying still going through and doing my stuff that I'm supposed to do. And I'm just basically fine-tuning and growing some different teams for different aspects of the game right now, which is kind of a fun part of the game. You can really start dialing into it and making it your own and putting your own spin on these different characters and everything. It's kind of fun.
Yep. And the makers of this game support our podcast, and we want to help support them. So if you guys want to go and download the game, it's totally free. You don't have to spend any money on it if you don't want to. But when you do spend money in the game, a portion of that goes towards our podcast, and it helps support us. So if you are looking for a fun and cool way to support our show and our content, go over to saltynerd.com/DC, or just search for Dragon Champions in the app stores on your device and download it. It's a great game.
If you want to be cool like us.
Exactly. All right, Jude.
Okay.
Take it away. What is The Vampire Lovers?
1970, The Vampire Lovers, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour, 31 minutes. There is no box office for this movie, but would you care to venture a guess on what the budget was, V?
Man, I have a hard time with this era of movies. I have no idea. I mean, like, I want to compare, like, I think I remember, like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers was like 400,000 or something like that, right?
Okay.
So, and this was like 10 years later. And so me trying to like compare these things is, I want to say like $1 million maybe.
Okay.
Probably not, but it's Hammer. So I don't know. I don't know.
Final offer or final
$1 million.
guess.
I'll just go with
$1 million. Yeah. Had a budget of 370.
Wow.
273.71.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Basically, like, I think that equates to about like $2 million in today's funds.
Sure.
It was like 160,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, this is not a big budget thriller, but apparently it was a huge hit in the porn industry.
Well, it's not the porn industry.
I know. I'm being facetious.
But before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about Hammer horror for a second.
Please.
Because when we were watching this, I dropped that little bit of knowledge when we saw the credits, and Jude had no idea what Hammer horror was. Mm-hmm. And so Hammer Film Productions was this British company that started off in the 30s, and it kind of made a name for itself in genre film. So it did like science fiction, fantasy, and stuff like that. But they really made a name for themselves in the horror genre because they basically kind of focused on being like gorier and sexier than like their competition. And we also saw a lot of legendary British actors kind of come up through the ranks in Hammer horror, like Christopher Lee. He was their Dracula. And in this movie, we have Grand Moff Tarkin.
Mm-hmm. Peter Cushing.
Yeah, Peter Cushing.
Didn't he play Van Helsing in a lot of...
well, I mean, he's played a lot of different characters in the Hammer movie. He was one of their stable...
One of their staple actors.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just kind of funny seeing like Grand Moff Tarkin in this movie, but basically Hammer horror around this time, they were having to compete with American cinema, which was becoming like more and more graphic. So you had like the slasher movies coming out, and you had like really gory like horror movies that were kind of all the rage, and when it came to European films were getting more sexual and more graphically more, sexual. Yeah. And so because of the censorship standards in the UK, they would really kind of crack down on the gore. So like all the blood and guts and stuff like that, like the censors like, you can't do that. But because of the European cinema, they were like, but you can show nudity and you can show sex. And so Hammer horror was like, okay, well, if that's the way we're going to go, we're actually going to, lean heavily into like the sex stuff. And this was actually their first movie that featured nudity in it.
Really?
Yeah. All their other stuff was kind of like, it was sexual, but it wasn't like, graphic, but with this movie, they were like, we're going to go full tits. We're just going to show tits.
Do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Boobies everywhere.
And it's kind of funny because Christopher Lee was offered the role of the man in black in this, who's basically like Dracula. He's the one who sired, the female vampires and stuff. And Christopher Lee was very adamant against nudity in films. He was like, it's trashy. It's, below our standards. And this is when he stopped associating himself with Hammer Pictures. Huh. Because he was protesting the nudity in the films. But this was kind of like for the American audiences, they needed to put in something to kind of pull people to the theaters. Mm-hmm. And so this was the first of Hammer's kind of foray into full-blown sexual content. And I think they did a pretty good job with it.
I do too.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to lie. I think there's a lot of parts of this movie that are really kind of boring. But the parts that aren't make up for the parts that are. Yeah, I guess that sounds really basic comment, but I guess what I mean is I feel like when we get all super dialogue-y and everything with this movie, it's kind of just
it drags.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And but I love the atmosphere and the characters of this movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I think of like spooky vampire castles and graveyards and stuff, this kind of movie just nailed it.
Yeah, it looks exactly what you're picturing.
Yeah, it looks like what I want to go to if I want to go to like a haunted house during Halloween or something like that. You know? It's perfect.
Yeah. So Jude, what is this movie all about?
All right, I'll tell you. Brawless, tit-sucking vampires have come to terrorize a small 18th century Austrian village, bringing nightmarish orgasms to the otherwise straight women of Styria. When Renton, the butler, drunkenly makes a joke about vampires, the town tavern suddenly goes silent, as superstition is no laughing matter to the townsfolk when all their young daughters have started getting anemia and dying recently. Renton is suddenly determined to put a stop to all the lesbian sorcery going on while the lord of the manor is away. He calls for the doctor/vampire hunter, and they set about saving the life and soul of young Emma before she goes full lesbian crush and succumbs to the dark side. Discuss.
All right, so Jude, this was a movie that had been on your list for quite some time that you wanted to watch.
Yeah.
This was your pick for Retro Rewatch Month.
It certainly was.
What is your overall impression of the vampire lovers?
I'm so glad that we finally watched this. I thought it was so much fun. It is definitely exploitive. Which one?
Yes, it's an exploitation.
It's definitely sexploitation. It's just like, I know what it is. However, it's so much fun. Carmilla is our main villain. She's like the vampiress, and she is not trying to hide her gay at all. She's so just like, but I love you. Don't leave me. I want to kiss you upon your breasts.
Yeah.
And she's like seducing all of these women who ultimately she ends up killing. But like, her seduction is so in your face. And for 1970, it was so jarring and I didn't expect it, but it was hilariously fun. I had a great time.
All right. Vader, what was your overall impression of the vampire lovers?
Pretty much the same. I had a really fun time watching this. I was not expecting this kind of movie.
Yeah, me neither.
But when Jude texted me a few days ago and said, this thing is so porny, you wouldn't believe it. I'm like, okay,
then you got excited.
Color me intrigued. And it is. I was not expecting as much nudity, and stuff as we got. I wasn't expecting
I thought it would be a little classier. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it would be. I wasn't expecting the heavy lesbianish overtones. I mean, it's not even overtones. It's just like she's into chicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's wild.
Like, she'll seduce a man if she has to, but she prefers women.
Yeah. It's just it's a very fascinating movie to me. And it piqued my interest in watching wanting to watch some other Hammer stuff in the future.
Now, Vader,
because
you jerked off 3 times while you watch this. Is that normal for you?
No.
There you have it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm usually
High recommendation.
this is a 3 masturbating
This
movie.
It's a 3 jerk movie for him.
It's a 3 jerk movie for sure. Yeah, it's changed my world. Changed my world. And not just, playing with myself, but like full on to completion. And I had to like push pause and clean up, take a break.
It's only an hour and a half long, man.
I know, right?
Did you have a sandwich in between?
You had to go downstairs and
Okay.
hydrate, and
Good for you.
Eat your celery.
eat some protein, get things working back up again.
Do some push-ups.
Well, Vader, you always appreciate the boob count in movies. What would you rate this movie in terms of boob count?
Did you count the boobs?
I did not count the boobs, but this is definitely at least 4 out of 5 star boob count movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my final rating.
There's so much boobs.
There's a lot of boobs.
Yeah.
And the thing that's funny is it's like, we're just going to show boobs.
Yeah.
Well, there's one bathtub scene where she gets up and you see her ass, which really surprised me. It's like, whoa, full butt nudity.
Well,
Holy crap.
there's also a full frontal scene in this movie, but she's all shrouded in darkness.
The shroud doesn't
like you can see a hint of what's between the legs.
A hint of bush.
A hint of bush, exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of like, we don't need no 70s bush. Let's just keep it from the waist up.
I'm a fan of 70s bush.
Technically it's 19 or 1800s bush.
Yeah, it's even worse. It's like,
yeah, it's 1700s bush.
But yeah, I don't know. This is a very sexy movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Bound chicka wow wow for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Peter Cushing and some of these, I'm sure some of these guys have like Royal Shakespeare roots and stuff, and I'm like, I was expecting some kind of hoity-toity vampire movie, and instead we got sexploitation vampire lesbian boobs, and I'm like very happy about it. Like, yes, Grand Moff Tarkin is in a boob movie. I'm happy. It's pretty cool.
And they knew how to cast the female vampires.
Absolutely, they're all hot. They're all hot. Yeah,
very attractive.
Yes.
Well, so Kadish, you haven't really said much about your experience of watching this movie.
So this movie is based off of a 1872 Gothic novella, which is called Carmilla, and it's by an Irish author named Sheridan Le Fanu. And this is one of the early works of vampire fiction. It actually predates Dracula by about 26 years. Yeah. And the story is about this young woman who lives alone with her father in this big castle. And then this woman named Carmilla comes and stays with them, and she starts having these nightmares. And there's actually in the book, there's a lot of very thinly veiled lesbian themes in the book. But the story of, the German general who's played by Peter Cushing in the movie, and like the death of his daughter, that's all kind of like happens before the short story starts. And so like you get her point of view of like, what's happening with Carmilla and what her father does to try to protect her, and the German general who shows up and hunting down the vampires. But this was a very kind of like early subversive pro-lesbian work. And it was the first instance of like actual lesbian vampires in literature. And so when Hammer Horror was looking for like something sexy, they went to this Public Works and they're like, lesbian vampires, we're on it.
Let's go.
And this is actually the first of a trilogy of films. It's called the Karnstein trilogy. And the other 2 films are Lust for a Vampire and Twins of Evil.
I know what I'm watching tonight.
Yeah. So like any good horror movie, it is a trilogy. And it was kind of funny when we were watching this movie. Like, I don't tend to like these types of films, but
you snob.
But Jude was having such a good time with it, and once the boobs started flowing, I was like, "Oh,
like milk and honey."
Yeah. This is quite interesting. So I actually had a really good time watching this movie, and I wouldn't say it's as boring as Vader probably thought some of like the dialogue pieces were, but it was very interesting. Like getting to see Peter Cushing in like a non-Star Wars role, getting to see like the lesbianism, kind of like explored in this film.
Outside of Star Wars, I don't know what Peter Cushing's really been in outside of Hammer movies, right? I'm sure he's been in other stuff, but that's what I think of. And I haven't seen hardly any Hammer movies. So I guess I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to Peter Cushing, but those are the things that come to my mind when I think of him.
Yeah, I mean, like he's been in a lot of British films because he was part of like that whole kind of like British acting corps that basically is in everything. But the interesting thing about this movie is like, so at the time, you know, it was still very taboo to like explore homosexuality on screen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And basically, when the Hammer submitted the script to the UK censors, the censorship board came back and they're like, oh, like you can't have lesbianism in this movie. And Hammer went back and is like, well, the lesbianism's in the original book. And the British censors were like, oh, it's based on a novel, literary? Okay, I guess it's fine. Yeah. And so like that's how they were able to get around the censorship of the homosexual subplot. Well, they were like, it's in the source material. And the censorship was like, well, if it's in the book, I guess we can't take it out. Which I thought was a very British thing to do, which was pretty funny. But so let's talk a little bit about what your favorite scenes were in the movie, Jude.
I'd be hard pressed. I think my favorite thing about this movie is all of the nightmare sequences, because it is so gay without being overtly gay. Like these young girls, these young proper virginal girls wake up shrieking in the middle of the night that they've had these nightmares, but their nightmares, like their night terrors, come off as orgasmic. And what they're having nightmares about is pussy.
This big cat.
Yeah. There was a cat. It sat on my face.
The cat comes and sits at the foot of my bed, staring. And it reaches out towards me. And I try to scream, but my throat is strangled. And it lies across me, warm and heavy. And I feel its fur in my mouth.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. It's totally true. This giant pussy cat attacked me in my sleep.
Yeah.
It was licking my face.
And like it happens to more than one girl. More than like it happens throughout the whole movie. I mean,
it's hilarious. I like her Carmela's or whatever. She just changes her name. Yeah. And like goes from manor to manor, seducing and killing the virginal daughter of the manor lord. That's her thing.
On their deathbeds, these young girls are like calling, Carmela, come to me. I want to be with you before I die, Carmela.
See, but here's the thing. So there's throughout the movie, and maybe I missed this because I've only seen this once when I was lying in bed last night. Throughout the movie, they keep on panning up to this vampire lord dude who's riding around in his black cloak and his red cape on this horse. And every time Carmilla or whatever does something, I feel like she's being controlled by this vampire lord dude. And they never explore who he is really, right? Well, he comes in the very first, he comes into Peter Cushing's house at the beginning of the movie. And then
during like the ball.
Yeah. And he does something and then he leaves. And then for the rest of the movie, they just show him every time they want Carmilla to do something, she likes, I being like telepathically connected to this guy. And he's like, go suck her blood or something. I don't know what, they didn't do a very good job of explaining the vampire lord dude's role in this. Am I wrong?
No,
is it confusing? I was confused with that.
My guess is that at the time of the filming of this, they didn't have like major villains in movies that were just women. It's always like the man, but I have sent you to do my bidding. So he's just kind of there to like be the guy.
In my head, Carmilla, is that her name? Carmilla?
Yeah.
She's like a minion of, Lord Vampire Dude on the hill. And her job is to go out there and make new vampire wives for him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that Kadish said this is actually the first movie of a trilogy, I'm assuming they maybe go into who this dude is.
I mean, according to the movie poster, there's more minions.
So I'm curious if they ever explore this vampire guy, because I'm confused as to what.
Do you have any insight there, Kadish?
Yeah, so basically it's called the Karnstein trilogy, and that's Carmilla's last name. She was Countess Karnstein. Right. And I believe that the man in black, the mysterious figure that you're talking about, he was supposed to be her maker. At the beginning of this movie, we have like this whole sequence where like this guy, his sister died under mysterious circumstances. He believes that there are vampires, and he kind of stakes out this castle to kind of kill the vampires when they come up from the grave. And he basically is able to kill all the vampires except for Marcilla or Carmilla. And so Carmilla is the last kind of like vampire out there who I believe is like the last sire of this man in black. And I believe when they were trying to cast Christopher Lee in the role, they meant to kind of imply that this was Dracula. And so like Carmilla was like an offspring of Dracula. But you're right. They leave it ambiguous. I don't know if they cover it in the future films or anything like that.
I mean, they show this guy every 15, 20 minutes through the movie. And all he's ever doing,
just lurking.
All he's ever doing is standing on this horse looking menacing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nailed it.
It's like, you will go and do stuff. You know, it's like, yeah, it's very, very strange. Very strange.
So one of the interesting things about this movie is that, so you have these two leading ladies, Ingrid Pitt, who plays Carmilla, and then Kate O'Mara, who plays like the girl that she's like seducing and preying upon, Emma. Yeah. And these two women have gone on to do like numerous interviews about this movie and stuff like that, because it was like one of the first very porny like British films that could come out. And they've both gone on record as saying that like they're as far from homosexual as you can get. Like they were like, we had a very difficult time doing all like the lesbian stuff.
They had to say that.
Well, no, they've come out since the movie came out and are basically like it was very difficult for us to do the stuff. We didn't like it. And you can kind of tell in their performances, like they're really not into it. But they would do these things where like in like the really intimate scenes where like, you know, Ingrid's about to like bite the boobie with her, fake vampire teeth. Her fangs kept falling out when she'd go down to do it, and they'd start like busting up laughing. And so like they ruined so many takes by giggling between the scenes. Eventually Ingrid actually had to borrow chewing gum from like the guys on set to keep her fangs like locked into her mouth so like she could actually bite on the boob. But it was kind of funny because Kate O'Mara at the time when she made this, I think she had just turned 18 or something like that. And the producers had told her, like when she was cast, she didn't know that there was going to be nudity. And the producers told her, like, don't worry, this is only for the Japanese release.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And they were like, the Japanese need like the nudity, but no one else is going to see that because they actually shot all these scenes with like boob out and boob in.
What does the Japanese thing have to do with anything?
It's just a lie.
Yeah, it was a lie, yeah.
All those Japanese, man, they need the boobs in the movie.
and so Kate O'Mara, like nowadays, I think she's like in her 70s or 80s or something like that. Like she tells this story about how, she was mortified when the nudity version got like a wide release in the US and the UK and Europe and stuff like that, because basically the producers lied to her about, like
not cool.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Not cool.
But that was typical for Hollywood in the time, I think. But I mean, you can definitely tell that the lesbian aspect of the movie was very uncomfortable for the women.
Kate O'Mara was the governess, not the main girl. The main girl was Madeline Smith.
Okay, so I meant Madeline Smith.
Okay.
What I find funny is you were talking about how all these big lesbian scenes and everything. This movie was actually very tame. I know we're talking 1970 here, but there's no like big like lesbian makeout scenes.
Oh yeah, you don't see like
it's literally
it's not porn.
A peck on the cheek with your boobs out. Basically, is what we're talking about.
But
here.
like boobs are out and there's like caressing.
Yeah,
and Ingrid Pitt does land a few kisses here and there.
Like here in like the chesty area.
Yeah,
it's nothing. But it's very sexual.
It is.
It's very sexy, and it's just like. I don't know.
Yeah, and Ingrid Pitt, like, she wrote like a couple of articles about her time on the set, and she was like, I never saw this as like a lesbian movie. She was like, I tried to play the character as asexual. like she was just like down for like whatever, I guess. But
Me too.
But the book makes it clear that like, you know, there are very specific lesbian undertones here.
Just really quick.
I'm very interested in reading the book. What's up?
Eveled, one of our new patrons in the chat, has said the man in black is never explained in the other films in the trilogy. And he's telling us,
you've seen them?
He's a big Hammer fan. He's going to be our resident Hammer expert.
Yeah.
And
we're gonna have to do it like a Hammer week.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think.
Maybe next October.
So in every like sexy scene, it was kind of funny because like, you know, these were closed sets because of all the nudity and stuff like that. But in the producers would always make sure that there was plenty of wine available on the set because the actresses needed to get a little tipsy in order to do their performances, apparently.
This is so shitty. And it's making me feel worse about liking this movie. They lied to them and they date raped, drugged them.
Well, you know, it's just...
Well, I mean, it's not like they forced them.
Have a little Quaalude. It'll loosen you up.
I'd love a little Quaalude.
They didn't force them to drink the wine. I think most of the actresses requested it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. Fun movie. I had a great time with this one.
I did too. I thought it was so much fun, and I really want to watch the next two. I didn't realize it was a trilogy. I'm so excited. I want to get the other two posters.
I want more stuff. You know, I know we're talking about a lot about the lesbianism and the boobies and everything, but I want to see more stuff like we got in the last 10 minutes. I want more
like vampire hunting.
I want more vampire hunting and creeping through the castles and opening coffins and sticking stakes and sleeping vampires' chests and stuff.
How about this?
I really love that stuff.
How about the scene where the doctor is like, "We have to save her. We're gonna do this and we're gonna do that," and she just fucking murders him. Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, going through the mountain.
Oh, and they all think it's the
house.
The
lady.
house.
The mistress of the house.
Yeah,
the wife.
What is her
the
title?
She's the countess or whatever.
No, she's like hired help. The governess. They all think it's the governess who's the vampiress. Not suspecting Carmilla at all.
Yeah.
And Carmilla still is free to seduce and
it's
kill.
Clearly Carmilla.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So I should point out that both of you are big Anne Rice fans. You both love vampires.
Yeah.
So they take a few liberties with the vampire rules in this movie. Jude, do you want to explain
with
what
the day walking?
Do you want to explain what the vampire rules are in this movie?
Everybody knows the vampires are very sensitive to the sun, and depending on what your personal vampire lore is, it's either anywhere from they sparkle to it disintegrates them, and some gray areas in between. And the garlic, the mirrors, excuse me, stakes through the heart, beheading, you know, all good, clean, fun family.
I mean, clearly the rules are made up and don't matter.
Well, this predates a lot of.
I mean, there is one scene where she literally is sitting underneath a shade, and she's, the sun bothers me.
She's like, I'm too sensitive.
I'm too sensitive.
I'm a delicate woman.
Okay, well, yeah. But get those garlic flowers out of here.
And it's funny too because depending on what your own personal vampire lore is, like the True Blood rules. They can't even be awake during the day. No. They are
get under the
they are
dirt,
actually dead when the sun comes up. They can only walk like children of the night.
Yeah. I like that. I love that show.
Well, also vampires can teleport in this movie. Carmilla teleports into her coffin at a certain point.
That's right. She does. She just disappears.
Oh, and the shroud thing was weird for me.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Yeah, so basically at the very beginning of the movie, they established that in order to kill a vampire or prevent a vampire from returning to their grave, you have to take their burial shroud away from them because that has some type of power over them.
Okay.
And in order to kill a vampire, you must first stake them through the heart and then cut off their head. And the vampires also have some type of hypnosis ability that can paralyze people so that they can feed upon them. So there's a lot of very interesting kind of not standard vampire rules in this movie, which I thought was kind of fun.
I love vampires. They're my favorite.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just like them. They're sexy. They have cool rules. They live forever.
They're very powerful.
They're the king of the monsters.
That's the only, well, not the only, but it's one of the main staples of the older you get, the more powerful you become. We're mere humans. The older we get, the more useless we become.
I mean, if I had to choose to be some kind of classic monster, it would definitely be a vampire. I don't like walking out in the sunlight anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's lame.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. Live forever. Just kind of suck some blood once in a while. You know, you can just hypnotize hot chicks.
The older you get, the less you have to feed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Vader, what would you say was your favorite part of this movie?
Well, you know, I don't know. The more I watch this movie, the more I just kind of like, I was really bored with this movie at the start. I'm not going to lie. But I think my favorite parts are the very beginning and the very end. I know you guys want me to say like it was all the booby lesbian scenes, and those were good.
Kept you in it.
But it kept me in it,
yeah,
for sure. But I liked the creepy castle Scooby-Doo stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I like, and I want to see more of it. You know, the beheading and the opening of the coffins and the vampire hunting. I love that stuff. It was fun. You know, I don't know. It was just the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes were my favorite parts of this movie. But I didn't hate the stuff in between. Like I liked the villagers in the bar.
Yeah,
they were funny. You know, and they were funny in a not funny way.
Yeah.
You know, it's just goofy, weird stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this movie I like. I don't know what my favorite. I don't think I've processed it enough to be able to tell you what my favorite. We need
at least 3-4 more watches.
Yeah,
you know, it's funny when you say the Scooby-Doo stuff.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how I perceived the bar scene, because it was like, you know, the butler is just like, ugh. What am I, a vampire? Yeah. And the whole it's a record scratch, and everybody's like.
It's more like a bloody vampire, that one.
That's not funny.
Did he say vampire? Yeah.
Explain yourself, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very Scooby-Doo.
Very Scooby-Doo.
So Jude, what was your favorite part of the movie?
I told you all the nightmares, the orgasm nightmares with the pussy.
Those were pretty good.
Yeah.
You want to explain what you mean by orgasm nightmares?
I did. I said, like, every time the girls are having nightmares, their reaction is like, like they're having orgasms.
Yeah.
But they're saying it's nightmares. I just think that none of these girls have ever come before.
I love that.
And they don't know how to deal with it.
Your analogy is awesome. I love it. It's like a big cat.
Vader's jerking it right now.
Yeah, I want to. That'd be kind of weird though. I jerk it a lot. So, you know.
Yay!
Food Network makes me want to jerk it, you know.
Oh, the cakes?
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Flay's a handsome man.
No, dude.
No. It's the desserts that make me want to touch myself.
When Giada De Laurentiis is doing her thing, oh man. Legit have a crush on her. Oh my God.
Oh, I want to jerk it to the food.
All those teeth. Jesus. Man. Yeah. Anyway.
Paula Dean. Queen of Butter.
You know, Trisha Yearwood. Hell yeah, dude.
Trisha Yearwood has a food channel?
Fuck yeah, she does.
Does she?
Hell yeah.
Not making music anymore, I guess. Kadish, what's your favorite?
Yeah, so I kind of liked the whole scene when the governess kind of is first seduced by Carmilla, where basically she's like, what are these bite marks on this breast? And Carmilla's like, oh, that's just from my brooch here. And she like puts it on her cleavage. And the governess is just like, oh.
Immediately she's into it.
Yeah, that happened really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she went from like, who's this bitch to was like, oh, I can't live without my lover. You know, it was wild.
I think she was jealous at first.
Had a spell put on her.
But well, that was the first like full seduction scene, because she follows Carmilla into Carmilla's room, and then Carmilla basically gets fully naked in front of her. And then it's implied that they like banged all night. Which I thought was interesting. But the other part that really stuck with me was at the very end, where you see like the portrait of Carmilla. And when Carmilla's killed, the portrait pulls like a Dorian Gray and like ages and like turns into like a skull and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that's a very striking image. And in fact, that's straight from the book, apparently. Ooh. So this movie was actually, from what I understand, fairly book accurate. Which
That's
is surprising considering it's an exploitation film.
Yeah.
But it's a British exploitation film, so it's classy. It's very classy.
I don't know what all
you
that.
gotta do is have some cool accents. It's fine.
I love you.
Yeah.
I want to be a bride forever.
And it should be pointed out that Peter Cushing plays a German general, like General Schmordorf or like whatever it is.
Yeah. He's just called the General in the credits.
Is he?
Just the General. Okay. Peter Cushing is the General. Yeah.
I believe his name is General von Spielsdorf.
I think I did see that in the IMDb credits.
Yeah, and he doesn't even bother with a German accent. He's
why bother?
just British.
And I mean, Carmilla is clearly some kind of Eastern European accent.
Yeah,
she's got going on. So,
all right. So, what would you guys rate this movie, and any final thoughts on it, Vader?
Final thoughts. You know, I did not know what to expect when we went into this. It's like, oh my God, there's the bathroom scene.
You missed the butt scene.
Rewind, man. But no.
Oh, this is the frolicking scene where Carmilla and the young girl.
Oh yeah, she's trying to get Emma naked right now. She's like, you can't try on my dresses when you're wearing a corset. You must get fully naked. And she's like,
oh my God,
I've never gotten naked before.
Well, you asked me about final thoughts, and there's those full-on 70s. I mean, look at those gangs. Oh my God, those are just amazing. I mean, they're just like they look like,
and those are 18-year-old.
Jesus Christ,
Jesus, dude, no.
Wow, no, that's cool. That's illegal. It's all good. And wow, I'm completely distracted right now. Thank you, Matthew.
You're welcome.
That's my favorite scene in the movie right there. No, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect when I started this thing. I knew we were watching it because we had the poster on the wall, and we hadn't seen it before, and I was okay with that. But I'm so glad we did because it's introducing us to Hammer movies. Yeah. We've never watched Hammer movies on this show, and I think we're gonna probably watch more. We're gonna have to slip these in between our Indian movie episodes.
Oh,
and Hammer horror movies.
Wait for Alex to go out of town again. Dad's gone. Let's watch some porny 70s movies.
I think it's fun to point out that while we were watching this, Jude felt so bad that Alex would have to watch it for some reason.
Yeah, I forgot that
Alex
he wasn't going to be here this week, and I was like, Alex is going to be so mad.
No, he would have hated this. He would have felt. This is probably a 1-star crap fest for him. I almost guarantee you it would be.
He just doesn't understand good cinema.
Yeah, he doesn't understand comedy or movies.
No. But no, I don't know what my final thoughts would be. It was fun. This was like a cool movie. It was my first real time. It's the first time I've really sat down and watched a Hammer movie from beginning to end in one sitting. And it makes me curious for more. I know there's some bad ones, and I know there's some really good ones. I'm hoping our patrons will guide me in the direction I need to go there. If I had to give this thing a rating, it's really hard for me to judge. I'm gonna say just a gut reaction, I want to give this thing like 3 stars.
Okay.
4.5 for boobs, but it was kind of boring, in some parts. But I did like the Scooby-Doo vampire hunting stuff as well.
Okay.
So I thought it was a fun movie. Like if it was remade today, I think it would they could change some things and make it way more fun. But I don't want them to do that. you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm gonna go 3. Did I say 3.5? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3.5. We're somewhere around there.
Okay.
I'll go 3 stars. 3 stars.
Yeah. All right, Jude, what would you rate this, and any final thoughts?
Several. I felt like this was it was so surprising. I didn't know what I was in store for. Mm-hmm. The watch of this was so much fun. I didn't even have to rewatch it in order to do my synopsis. Like I just had so much fun watching it. It's still like a movie. Like I watched it like almost a week ago, like 5 days ago, and every day I'm like, remember that one scene? That was funny. Mm-hmm. And like there are just little nuanced things throughout the movie that are key to like our main villain and stuff. Like she dresses like in this red dressing gown, and before that, like she's trying on dresses with the young girl that she's seducing, and Emma, the young virginal girl, goes to try that one on. She's like, that won't fit you, silly. Try the other, because the red dress is for the vampiress.
Yeah.
And she has this red jewel that she wears. And then when she sits down to dinner, they have the 2 wines. And he's like, white wine or red? And she's like, red. And immediately, before she even said that, I was like, she's got to choose the red. And like she takes a sip of the red wine, and she makes a tiny face to be like, it only looks like blood. She doesn't say it, but you know that's what she's thinking. Like the little things throughout this are just so good and fun and clever and well done. And I loved it. This movie made me want to watch the rest of the series. It's making me want to watch the original book that it was based on. It is definitely a 1970s exploitation film, and I think that how they treated their actors sucks. But me watching it today in 2022, for me, it still holds up as like a classic campy horror movie, which is 100% like how I want, like the movies that I want to watch. It being part of this whole like Hammer movie, like I'm very intrigued. I don't know anything about that. I want to know more, and this movie made me want to know more. So in the realm that it is, which is how you know that I judge movies, like 1970s campy, did it make me want to watch more? Did it make me think about it after I watched it? This is 5 stars for me.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty strong.
Yep, very strong.
That's good.
I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed watching this movie. The Victorian setting, the Gothic setting, all like the atmosphere, the Hammer horror kind of like look and feel for this, the British accents, and just the sheer amount of very attractive naked women in it surprised me. It was a more enjoyable watch than I was expecting. And so, plus I got to watch it with Jude. So like that made it more fun because she was very into it when we were watching the movie. I just, I liked it. I'd kind of like to check out the novella that it's based on. But I would have to give it probably like 3 stars. It was enjoyable and not usually my type of film, but it was fun enough.
I had one more thing that I forgot to mention that I loved about this movie, which is that Carmela is supposed to be like as young and innocent as like her victims, and she's clearly 35 years old, and the rest of the cast are all 18.
Yeah,
she's even got like kind of a smoker's voice. Yeah. I'm going to seduce ya.
Yeah, I have a very young cast.
I have a weird question.
Yeah.
Can a person buy the rights to a book?
Yes.
Like, could we like buy the rights to this book and have Jude make a? You
trying to get me to do porn?
No, but like. I think it would be cool if you did like an audio version of this book.
So this book is in the public domain. You don't need to pay for the rights to it.
Okay.
So I could, because it is in public domain, I could just do an audio book of it and release it of my own accord.
Okay.
Yeah, basically books, like once copyright has run its course, it falls into what's called public domain, which basically means that it has
to be older than 30 something years.
I think it's gone up to something like 70 years or something like that, because like there are people out there like the Tolkien estate and stuff like that.
I just find that really interesting because this is something that I feel like you should do, something like that.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the Sherlock Holmes books are public domain and stuff like that. And so like if you look at what's available in public domain, you can basically anyone can use those. Anyone can make a movie out of them, a TV show out of them, doesn't matter. But if copyright is still in effect, then you have to pay for the right to use that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that's not like really like related to our movie review, but I'm really curious about how that kind of stuff works. But yeah, this was a fun movie. I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah, and I think it's the first ever instance of a vampire lesbian on screen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this movie, it's famous. It's groundbreaking. All right,
Might
guys.
not be famous, but it is groundbreaking.
All right, guys. So that was our review of The Vampire Lovers. What did you think of it? Let us know in the comments. We really do love it when you guys, interact with our videos and our audios and let us know what's going on.
I want to go grab the poster off of the wall to show it in my camera, but I'm afraid I won't get it back on the wall.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, just leave it where it is. Don't mess with the
I'll
studio.
take a picture of it and I'll put it in our Discord. So if you're not on our Discord, jump in so that you can see the poster.
Well, we'll probably pop it in the video anyway, so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's a cool poster.
You can just Google it.
Yeah. All right. So Matt Vader 74. Where can people find out more about you?
Oh, hey, you can find me on Twitter at Matt Vader 74 and most of the other social medias, and also here on this channel every Saturday morning with Mr. Kadish over there, as we do Salty Saturday mornings, and we talk about trending topics and nerd news, and we have a lot of fun over there on Saturday mornings. And also, you can find me playing games, retro games and stuff, over on my YouTube channel at mattvader.com. I believe it just goes right to my YouTube channel. So yeah,
and it's called Old People Suck at Games.
Well, that's what I put on my hashtag or on my thumbnails. Old people suck at video games, because we do. We're terrible. But yeah, I'm getting better.
All right, Jude, where can people find more about you?
Well, you can find us on Facebook at saltynerdgroup.com, and you can find me on the socials at I am Jude Juju. And definitely jump in our Discord. It's free. We're not trying to get you to spend any money on us. We would love that if you want to join our club, but join our Patreon. Talk to us about movies. There's even there's a channel on there about like different cocktails that we make while we're talking about movies, and I am drinking the last remnants of my Negroni right now. And we put recipes in there, and we talk about movies, and we talk about nerddom, and we talk about gaming, and just come join the Discord and come chat with us. We're in there every day.
Just
saltynerddiscord.com.
Yeah, I was gonna say saltynerddiscord.com. Just to reiterate that. We're in Discord all the time.
Every day.
It's super fun.
Yeah, we love talking to you.
And it's just casual fun. It's open to everybody. There's no paywall.
No.
Just come hang out.
Yeah.
For sure.
You get more channels if you're in the club, but no pressure. We talk to everyone in there every day.
Yep. See you there.
All right, guys, and you can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, on Twitter and Truth Social. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page. And if you want to support what we do here and you are on an Apple device, go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating. We're trying to get 200 5-star ratings so that we can apply to be accredited movie reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, we've been trying to do that for how long? Like 2 years now? And it takes forever to get 200 5-star ratings. It's embarrassing.
It really does.
But what are we up to now?
I think we need like 40 or 30 more, something like that.
All right.
But
I know there's 30 of you out there. Just please give us a 5-star rating.
I'm just going to go start stealing people's phones.
Yeah, like if you have an Apple device or you know someone who has an Apple device, just ask them to throw us a 5-star rating. They don't have to leave a review or anything. Just a 5-star rating.
Doesn't commit you to anything.
Yeah, and it helps us out a great deal. So we'd really appreciate that. Anyway, guys, that was our review for The Vampire Lovers. We hope you enjoyed it. And join us next week as we talk about the original The Thing. And we're actually going to be we're actually going to be comparing and contrasting that to John Carpenter's remake of that movie. So it should be a fun little retro WeWatch episode.
I've been fighting for this one for a while. This one is a fly.
So I have to go watch the old thing?
Yeah.
That came before the one with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The one from the 1950s. So yes, so it should be a fun episode. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and let us know what you think in the comments. And until next time, take care and stay salty, my friend.